What's going on, everybody? My name is Eddie with the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast, and today I'm going to be telling you how I would book someone within the WWE. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of people sign back to the WWE and a lot of people getting pushed. However, someone who's gotten lost in the shuffle is one Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross had first signed to the WWE in 2020, where he was put in NXT and started off with a huge bang. Karrion Kross had a great undefeated streak where he would end up fighting for the NXT title against Keith Lee and win it. However, he would have to relinquish the title due to injury. He would end up coming back and go on another big run where he would end up winning the NXT title again and beating Finn Balor in the process. Karrion Kross would end up losing the NXT title to Samoa Joe and then end up going to the main roster where he had a horrible display. Karrion Kross was supposed to get pushed to the moon, and it looked like in NXT that's exactly what was going to happen. But after going undefeated for so long, then losing to such a big threat like Samoa Joe, and then going to the main roster where Jeff Hardy was barely getting pushed and then lost, it was quite a surprise to WWE fans. Not only that, but after taking Scarlett off of TV as well, it seemed like Karrion Kross's run was going to be short-lived, and that's exactly what happened. Karrion Kross ended up getting released shortly after his debut and then had to make his own mainstay on the indie circuit. He would end up joining Control Your Narrative with EC3, Braun Strowman, Wesley Blake, and several others in the process. Though we didn't see much from him in the indies, it seemed like he was destined to come back to WWE once Triple H had taken control of creative. I can't speak for anyone else, but I for certain was very excited when Karrion Kross came back and attacked Drew McIntyre and let Roman Reigns know his time was coming to an end. Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre would eventually feud, however, Drew McIntyre took the best of that feud. Now, we all thought Karrion Kross was going to fight Roman Reigns eventually, however, it seems like he's been lost in the shuffle for a decent amount of time. Now, to think Karrion Kross and Roman Reigns would cross paths is an understatement. They were trying to build that up as the feud that they wanted as their main event. However, we've only seen a few backstage segments between Karrion Kross, Scarlett, and the Bloodline, and we haven't really seen much of Karrion Kross on TV, if I'm going to be quite honest. Karrion Kross has had a feud with Rey Mysterio, but we haven't seen Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross fight yet. We've only seen mind games between Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio, and to be quite honest, we've only seen Karrion Kross really fight Riddick Moss and have Scarlett in his corner fighting Emma. So we want to see more with Karrion Kross being done, so this is what I have to say about that. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm going to have the Judgment Day and Karrion Kross and Scarlett end up crossing paths trying to get to Rey Mysterio. Now, we know Karrion Kross has been trying to go after Rey Mysterio for a decent amount of time. However, it seems like the Judgment Day will be migrating over to SmackDown shortly. And of course, they're probably going to want to get their hands on Rey Mysterio because we've been seeing that for a decent amount of time now. Even when you think we've finally seen enough Rey Mysterio and Judgment Day feuds, they end up moving him to SmackDown. And of course, Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley keep crashing every Mysterio holiday event. We need to see Finn Balor get in the way of Karrion Kross trying to fight Rey Mysterio. I feel like that's the best thing to happen, and it seemed like Karrion Kross and Finn Balor had some pretty good chemistry when they had fought in NXT. To think that the both of them could have a feud and end up leading into WrestleMania would be perfect, but it seems like that's not the direction that we're going to get from the two. Finn Balor did end up losing NXT, but having people like Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley would benefit him in the long run and may give him the additional edge over Karrion Kross. The both of them ended up making each other look pretty good. Of course, it made Karrion Kross look much more dominant than Finn Balor in NXT, and I feel like that's what needs to happen for Karrion Kross to get on the right page in the main roster. Karrion Kross is supposed to be the personification of dominance, and we really haven't seen that very much, unless he's beating up Riddick Moss for no reason whatsoever and putting a Rey Mysterio mask on him. We need to see the Karrion Kross of old who would do anything to get to the WWE title or the Universal title. It seems Karrion Kross and Finn Balor both aren't doing anything worth value right now to the company, so putting them against each other would end up being best for business, and I feel like we'll see a lot more out of the two if this actually happens. You'll get to see the Judgment Day beat up Karrion Kross and look even more powerful than they have over the past few weeks, and on top of that, once you get into the match with them, you'll get to see Scarlett do more around ringside and probably look pretty powerful in her own sense too. But on top of that, you could see a pretty great match against Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, where I feel Karrion Kross needs to win in order to get in line for the WWE title or the WWE Universal title. Karrion Kross was supposed to be the WWE champion of the future, and I feel like we need to see him in that spot soon, or else he'll just be another victim of getting released. We've seen Karrion Kross as a top guy in TNA and in NXT, and I feel like we could see that on the main roster if they gave him something worth value, like putting him against Finn Balor and the Judgment Day. Karrion Kross can be a top guy, and if we see him in a top feud against Finn Balor and then going after that WWE Universal title, people will finally understand how much value he can bring to the WWE. A lot of people have questioned Karrion Kross coming back to the WWE because we haven't seen the pushes that we had initially expected, and with Triple H being in power, we thought we would have seen a WWE Universal title match against Roman Reigns by this point. I feel like we could see a Karrion Kross push soon once his feud is done with Rey Mysterio, but I feel like the best way to do that is have crossfire between the Judgment Day and Karrion Kross trying to go after Rey Mysterio. That can create an instant classic and have big feuds and big-time spots from both the Judgment Day and Karrion Kross. Putting Karrion Kross against Finn Balor in the Judgment Day would put him back in that main event spotlight, and we may finally get to see him go after the WWE or the WWE Universal title. But of course, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments, and please comment who you'd love to see me fantasy book next time. Until next time, I'm Eddie with Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast.